That song was introduced by Liza Minnelli in the musical Flora the Red Menace, way back in the 1960s. And I remember the first time I heard it, it took me aback, and then I used it. I took it as one of my audition songs because I wasn't known to do that kind of a song. I would come in like da 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 da. And it was great to just slow down and sing something so simple. But the lyrics of that song too, the idea that we tend to think that everything's going to be in the future big and full, and we expect things to be something, and sometimes they're not. And we feel let down sometimes. I remember when I finally did get a chance to star in a Broadway show, it wasn't what I thought it was at all. It was not pleasant. I didn't really have a good time, and I was surprised, very surprised. So this song really is a song asking us to take a look at our lives and see if perhaps there are some magnificent things going on that we just don't recognize yet because it's so quiet. I'm reminded of that day, and most of you know this story, when Nora called me out to the garden to show me a little rose that just came through, a little flower that just came through. And my first instinct was like, I am really busy to see this. I don't really have time for this. But then she turned to me and she went, this was not here yesterday. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, that is magic. That is a miracle that this was not here yesterday. But we don't notice those things. So the title of my talk today is not stillness, standing still. Now, I am not someone who most people see as someone who stands still a lot. Would you say? I seem very Energizer Bunny. I seem very excited. I'm constantly making things happen. I'm constantly moving on to a new project. I usually have 5 or 10 projects simultaneously going on. I've scheduled my entire life within an inch of its life, trying to make sure I'm only 10 or 15 minutes late for everything because everything is so full. Or maybe a little longer, Robbie. No. Yeah. And that's kind of me. And, as I said last night, I've taken great pride in being that person that everybody sees that way. That bigger than life person who gets so much done and does so much in life. And lately, and it's funny too, because I was telling someone about this talk, and I said, yeah, I'm giving a talk. It's called Standing Still. And this person was like, what do you know about that? And I was like, and it was funny. I mean, it was Rick Tamlin who went, you're really doing a talk called Standing Still? You probably have to do a lot of research. And I was like, and Rick and I, for those of you that know Rick Tamlin, Dr. Rick Tamlin, we kind of see ourselves very parallel in the world. We're both constantly doing. And when we got through with last night's service, he wrote me a beautiful email about this concept of standing still and what it would mean. And the irony is, the stiller I get, the more I do. The stiller I get listening and hearing, the more I take risks that I might not have taken because I actually understand what's going on. So this month, picking a theme for December, we've done rebirth, we've done, the whole thing about the baby in the manger. I wanted something different. And it was this picture that came across my desk when I was looking for pictures. Bless you. And I looked at this buck and the face, the look on its face, that moment when an animal hears something and just turns. And every atom in their body, every cell is still because it's looking to see what's here, what's all around me. And that's when I got stillness. And that's when I came up with the idea of standing still in the winter, that time when everything's underground at the deepest level. when we're hibernating, when we've pulled everything back and we've just get still enough to be able to look at our lives, to look at who we are, to look at the people that are in our lives and understand who they are to us. The whole solstice feeling. So this month we get an opportunity, and I'm going to ask you to take the opportunities to slow down a bit. In the midst of this crazy Christmas season, right, holiday season, to really take the time to slow down. As we were driving here today, I said to Kevin, I'm feeling so emotional these days. Now, the truth is, we're buying one house, we're selling our home of 20 some odd years, 30 some odd years, is it 30 years? So we're buying a house, selling a house, we're renovating a center, so much going on all at the same time. And Kevin said to me, he said, oh, they're going to put the sign on in front of our house on Tuesday. And he said it just out of it was to him, it was just, oh, they're putting the sign on the house on Tuesday. And something in me came up and I couldn't speak. I was like, I just sat there and I got very still and I just listened. And what I got was, change is really hard, and change is necessary. And then I got, they really don't work together. Necessary and hard, except they do. And so I got very still for a long rest of the drive, I think, and I just had to sit with it and go, so what when I get still, what do I really feel? And when I really went deep inside, I was like, I know that everything we are doing is the right move. It's moving us forward. And yet, there's something in me that is like this deer doing this. Am I missing anything? Is there something else I need to hear? And I am only going to hear that. I am only going to know that if I don't get caught up in the fast-paced world of everything I have to do. I will only know it if I back it up. So I have a couple quotes for you today. Oh, first of all, I want to talk about this. So, stillness does not mean lack of movement at all. In fact, you could be as creative as you could possibly ever imagine for yourself and still be in this place of stillness. And that's one of the things I want to bring up. It's not about stopping everything you're doing. That's not what stillness is. And Eric said it so beautifully last night. It's not about having to turn away from everything. It's about finding the stillness within it. Finding the stillness as you are living your life, as you are going through your life. So, Eckhart Tolle said this: look at a tree, a flower, a plant. Let your awareness rest upon it, how still they are. Allow nature to teach you stillness. When was the last time you really spent the time to look at the world around you? Not your world that you're creating, but the world that the quantum field of quantum coherence is bringing to you. When's the last time you really looked at a tree or stood in a tree's presence and just paid attention? Create the coherence between you and the tree. When's the last time you were at a function and you looked around, got very still, and looked around at all the people? Yesterday, we did our celebration of life for Pat Shelton. And again, I was very emotional because every one of us in this room has a treasure trove, boxes of pictures of our lives, don't we? Doesn't everybody have pictures of their lives in some drawer or box or steamer trunk, wherever you have them? It's something when you celebrate someone's life and all of those pictures come rolling out and you watch someone as a child, as a teenager, all of this stuff. And you start to recognize and realize what you have all done, what we have all done. So when I look at this, allow nature to teach you stillness. Allow people to teach you stillness. Imagine if you could go through the rest of your life and never have a button to be pushed. Wouldn't that be something? Imagine you could go for the rest of your life and never have a reaction that comes from the physical world of form, but always the reaction from that still, perfect place inside of you where you actually understand and know, where you're never caught up in any of the crap that goes on in life, but you are always backed into that place of stillness. I think that's possible. I think it's possible, but I think we need to do, as Eckhart Tolle said, look at a tree, a flower, a plant. Take the time to find that stillness, to find that coherence between you and everything else in the universe. Through music, through song, through meditation, through relationships, through friendships, through lovers, through friends, all of it. And that you have that relationship, you have that ability to find that stillness. I still have some buttons that get pushed. Anybody else? Yeah. Tiffany, you have any buttons that get pushed? No. No, we all do. But I can tell you this, those buttons that are getting pushed are getting weaker and weaker and weaker the longer you sit here on a Sunday, or really the longer you take classes and stay involved in what we're doing. Those buttons get weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. That's why I'm constantly telling our practitioners, you must be in classes. You must be growing as we grow. You don't just become a practitioner, oh, I already know everything now. That's like so archaic, the old way of teaching. Oh, I learned it, I'm good. Do you want a brain surgeon working on you that hasn't taken a class in 20 years? Do you? No. Do you want somebody who learned something on Google to start working on your body? No. You want somebody who's done the work, really put in the work, really taken the time to pay attention. So, Herman Hesse said this, within you there is a stillness and sanctuary to which you can retreat at any time and be yourself. I have a little story to tell you at the end here, but I will tell you, this quote really got me. First of all, the idea of a sanctuary. This is a sanctuary. This room, when I step into it, I feel like I've come home. I feel like I am right where I'm supposed to be. Whenever I walk into this room, for whatever function it is, there's some energy in this room that transcends whatever's going on. Which is also why it's great for us to have so many of our meetings in this room, to keep that consciousness, keep our awareness of it. And, as you all know, we're going to start seeing the transformation of this room, where all of our offices are right there, and the sanctuary will be even more intimate in terms of what we're doing to this place. And I am very excited about that. So, but the end of this sentence is what I want to point out to you. Within you, there is a stillness and a sanctuary to which you can retreat at any time and be yourself. It's quite possible that you don't even know who you are. It's quite possible that most of who you think you are relates to what you've done in the world. Most of who you think you are relates to your accomplishments, your relationships, what you've done so far up to this point. But I believe when Herman Hesse says you can retreat any time and be yourself, where you don't have to worry about who am I performing for and am I performing the way they want me to, where you just get to be yourself. Deepak Chopra says, in the midst of movement and chaos, keep stillness inside of you. And that's really, I believe, what this month is going to be about. Can I, no matter what's going on, when that sign goes up in front of my house on Tuesday and everyone in the neighborhood suddenly knows what's going on and I'm going to have to talk to them all, can I keep that stillness inside of me as all of that takes place, as we pack up 30 years of life in one house and move it to another house? Well, we won't be doing that because that house won't be ready for another year. But wherever we put it, wherever I land in these next 12 months, can I keep that stillness there? Can I keep it inside of me? Can I avoid becoming all of this? Can you avoid becoming all of the craziness that goes on around you and out there? That's really the question. I believe that's what he's saying here. Lao Tse said, in stillness, the muddied water returns to clarity. How many of you have some muddy water in your life right now? Just these two. Okay. No, I know you're all going, I do. So here's the thing about this. This is why I love this quote. In stillness, the muddied water returns to clarity. So we talked about quantum coherence, something holding all of this together. When I back into that thing that knows what it's doing and is in full competent awareness of everything that's happening, and it's all unfolding perfectly, when I can get there, all of that muddied water, I believe that's what this is, becomes clear, but it's still muddy. I'm clear about it, but it's still muddy. You know, there are certain flowers that can only grow in muddied water. There are things that can only show up in muddied water. So it may be muddy, but it's there for a reason. And if we can back it up and really get clear from this wellspring of intelligence, that muddied water will make sense at some point. You know when it won't make sense? When you're in the muddied water and that's all you can see. Because you won't be able to see why it's there or what's going on. And I say that all the time. I can't get far enough back to see what's going on, but I have faith to know that there's that in me that can stay back far enough to not get involved and to let it unfold perfectly. Whatever is going on in your life, for whatever reason. And now, those of you that don't know that I knew Leonard Bernstein, stillness is our most intense mode of action. It is in our moments of deep quiet that is born every idea, emotion, and drive, which we eventually honor with the name of action. We reach highest in meditation and farthest in prayer. In stillness, every human being is great. So this is Leonard Bernstein, who wrote West Side Story. And in the summer of 1980, Patti LuPone, who was doing Evita at the time, and I was doing West Side Story, we were asked to put together our club acts for a club called Les Mouches, which was a big dinner club. And we both said yes. I would do Friday nights, she would do Saturday nights. And I was getting ready for this big opening. I mean, I was starring on Broadway, and I had this big one-man show that was touted all over town with Patti. Both of us did. And I hired my partner at the time, who was a big Broadway star himself, to direct and write my show. And then we hired a publicist and the band and the musical director and all these incredible people. And they put together a show for me that I wasn't not involved in, but it really was a show created for me. And I wasn't as vocal as I am these days at saying it's my way or no way. I was listening because I thought they knew how to promote me the best. So they put together this show, and it really was a good show. A lot of contemporary music, a lot of show tunes, and opportunities for me to dance as well. And I had backup singers, a full band. It was amazing. So opening night's coming, and everyone's coming to this opening night. Stephen Sondheim, Leonard Bernstein, the whole cast of West Side Story, all of my Broadway friends, even my father came in from Philadelphia. It was an amazing opening night again. I just had a big opening night in West Side. This was another big opening night. So I had decided on my own that I had asked to do like a few of my own songs because I'm a songwriter, and I kept getting shut down. And Michael, who was directing it, said, "You don't want to do any of your own songs. They're not up to par with all the music we're going to pick. So let's just keep that part of you hidden." And I didn't feel good about that. So as opening night's coming along, I had written a brand new song called The Dreamer and the Runner, and I really loved it. And so I decided with my best friend, Doug Carfrey, I said, "Doug, take my guitar, put it into my dressing room, don't let anybody see it, and then bring it out to me when I'm taking my final bow." And he did. And And so Doug comes over with my guitar, and I look down, and Michael's there. He's going, "Don't do it." And I was like, so for my encore, I was going to do this one song, which was the Academy Award-winning song. I can't remember what it is now. And it goes like it goes from Norma Rae. And I said, you know what, tonight I'm going to do a brand new song none of you have ever heard. And I looked at Michael, I was like, none of you have ever heard. And I'm going to sing it. So I sang it. Great response, even though I looked over at Michael and he went, did not like that I did this. I go back to my dressing room, and there's a knock on my door. And it's this man. And I've never told this story, by the way. Last night was the first time I ever told it. And I opened the door, and there's Leonard Bernstein. Now, I'd seen him in the audience. I knew he was there. And he just came right in, shut the door. He said, that was great. Really great show. He said, but I just have to talk to you about your choice of doing your own song at the end of the show. And I'm like, unbelievable. I made the worst mistake of my life. This was awful. He said, it was the most authentic moment of your whole night. It was honest. It's who you are. I saw you in a way I've never seen you. You must continue your career that way. And that's Leonard Bernstein standing there telling me this, and I'm like, yeah. And he gave me a big hug, and he went, I'm so proud of you. That took a lot of balls. And he was like, but you're playing riff, so yeah. And he walked out of the room, and I just stood there. Oh, and Doug was in the room with me, Doug Carfrey. And I turned to Doug, and Doug was like, wow. And I was like, yeah. And I never put the pieces together that this quote here, we reach highest in meditation and farthest in prayer. In stillness, every human being is great. Of course you are. Of course I am. In stillness, when I drop to my most authentic self and I stop paying attention to or caring what people think, I find myself. I find God. I find myself. I find myself is God. So get over it, Blanche, and do what's yours to do. I've looked at that now and I thought to myself, that was 1980. By 1984, I was writing musicals. I was putting my music out there. Arista Records signed me and did my song. And I can go back now and look and see someone that the world looked up to told me, this is who you are. And I heard it. But it wasn't that it was Leonard Bernstein, it was, but it was something in me that said, that's the truth. So that's my gift to you today. You want to know who you are? You want to find what's yours to do audaciously and not care about what the world thinks? You must find that still place inside of yourself that knows exactly who you are, that loves exactly who you are. We talk about God loving us. Yes, that place loves you so deeply that it gives you permission to screw it up. But it's begging you, asking you, nudging you. Never underestimate divine consciousness emerging, nudging you to really be who you're here to be. And then we don't have to talk about rebirth because you'll just be doing it. Namaste.